finishing the paper. This is the part of the paper where, you know, tension's probably running a little high, especially if you're running a little short of time. In my case, I was able to finish the paper dot on time. Like, I didn't have much time left to check, maybe a couple of minutes probably, but that's about it. So one thing here, don't panic, especially if you're still solving towards the end. Like, there's no problem if you were able to finish the paper well in advance and now you're only checking. That's not a problem. But if you do have a couple of questions left to solve, this is the time where it's going to be most difficult to keep calm. But as far as possible, do try to maintain your mental balance and peace of mind, because this is where errors are most likely to happen, when there is a time crunch and the end is in sight. So try not to think too much about it, you know, kind of zone out your surroundings. If the invigilator is around asking for papers or telling you 2 minutes left, 5 minutes left, zone that out. Just focus. By chances are by now you would have already gone through the paper and you're just giving time to those difficult questions which you're not so sure about. So you will be able to do much more by just keeping a calm mind, because the questions you knew you have solved. Now it's all about trying to score as much as possible by tackling these difficult questions. So stay calm, think clearly. If you get it, great. Otherwise, it's okay. You didn't know. Happens to most of us, happened to me as well in many of the mock tests I wrote. Thankfully not in the final exam. And finally, when it comes to OMR marking, this is one thing. Some people tend to leave OMR marking for the end, and personal opinion, I would not encourage that, because the most painful way to lose marks in the exam is because you didn't mark your answer in the OMR sheet correctly, because it is something that will haunt you for quite some time if you make that mistake. And especially this is even more applicable now, because with the introduction of a section B in each subject, where you have to skip 5 questions out of the total 15 and attempt only 10. If in that flow you end up marking the first 10, whereas actually in your question paper you had skipped a few questions here and there, that will cost you dearly, and that is something you're going to have a tough time coming to terms with. So which is why I would say OMR marking is something that you should do as far as possible during the exam. Like, when you solve the question, tick it in your question paper or whatever you do, and immediately mark it in your OMR sheet. This will ensure that minimum mistakes are made during OMR marking, which is what I did in the final exam, and that's what I would recommend too.
पेपर सबमिट करने से 15 मिनट पहले मैंने पूरी OMR भर दी थी, and even though there were some questions that I was doubtful about, मैंने सबका attempt कर लिया था. Then that 10 minutes जो पेपर सबमिट होने से just पहले के थे, I was pretty relaxed and I was very excited to give the paper to the invigilator. And probably invigilator was also looking at कि एक बच्चा out of these 20 is very excited कि अभी मैं पेपर दे दूँगा. So that moment I felt कि हाँ, ये जो 2 साल की preparation थी वो अब ये 10 मिनट का joyous moment है. And I also felt really confident in myself कि कुछ नहीं तो 2, 4, 5, 10 क्वेश्चन खराब हो गए. उसके बाद भी मौलाना आज़ाद मेडिकल कॉलेज, which was the best college that I could get through NEET, was waiting for me. Coming out of the exam hall, I rushed as soon as I could. मैं सबसे पहला स्टूडेंट था जो कि बाहर निकला भागते हुए, और वहाँ मेरे दोनों पेरेंट्स खड़े थे. अब उन दोनों पेरेंट्स को भी आइडेंटिफाई करना इतनी भीड़ में was very difficult. As soon as I got to them, I asked for the phone, and मैंने सीधा अपने फ्रेंड को फ़ोन किया, जो कि उस समय तक अपने एग्जाम हॉल से नहीं निकला था, तो वो कॉल नहीं हो पाई. लेकिन द एक्साइटमेंट टू डिस्कस द पेपर वॉज अनपैरेलल्ड. एंड उस बीच में मैं अपने पेरेंट्स को भी कई बार इग्नोर हो गया कि वो भी पूछ रहे थे, उनको भी बड़ी एक्साइटमेंट थी कि कैसा गया पेपर. एंड आई सेड इट वाज अमेजिंग. एंड जैसे ही कॉल लगा, अपने टीचर्स को कॉल किया, अपने दोस्तों को कॉल किया. द पेपर डिस्कशन वाज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इन माई लाइफ एट दैट पॉइंट. एंड ऑल द वे फ्रॉम देयर टू माई होम आई वॉज डिस्कसिंग द पेपर. एंड गाड़ी में से बाहर भी नहीं निकल पा रहा था, बिकॉज द एक्साइटमेंट वॉज दैट कि अभी यहीं बैठ के पूरा का पूरा पेपर डिस्कस हो गया. पेपर डिस्कस किया, बहुत सारी आंसर कीज आ चुकी थी डिफरेंट कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट की. कुछ से 690 बन रहे थे, कुछ से 700 बन रहे थे, 695 बन रहे थे, हेयर एंड देयर. दैन कुछ टीचर्स ने बताया कि ये क्वेश्चन तेरे फेवर में जाएगा, इस क्वेश्चन के खिलाफ हम अपील करेंगे, सो एंड सो. बट आई हैड दिस इंस्टिंक्ट कि हाँ, बहुत अच्छा गया है पेपर. इवन इफ आई डोंट गेट अ गुड रैंक, इट विल बी अ नाइस कॉलेज दैट आई विल बी गोइंग टू.
finally I completed the entire paper and then like around 5 minutes के आसपास बचे थे and I was looking like सबके expressions की कैसे कैसे सबका गया है and then I was analyzing my mind कि मेरा कौन कौन से question में मेरे को doubt है थोड़ा थोड़ा so जितना मैंने analyze किया उससे I was like pretty sure कि काफ़ी सही हो गया है paper and I'm sure कि अच्छा college एक मिल जाएगा and I was very happy and मैं बहुत ज़्यादा relaxed थी कि now it's like all over and then I can now go and chill a lot so like this is how like it went the final thing.
So in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the exam, I was torn between two things. ऐसा लग रहा था कि पेपर भी रिवाइज करना है जो क्वेश्चंस छूटे हुए थे और OMR भी भरनी है क्योंकि OMR नहीं भरोगे तो कोई फ़ायदा ही नहीं है एग्ज़ाम का फिर तो. But then I realized कि what I had done already in solving the questions had to be enough. I could not have done more because if I had left anything else, if I had revised any more, then I would have left the OMR and then there would have been no point in doing all of the questions, what to talk of those last 2 or 3 that I had to revise. So towards the end I had to sort of think that what I've done is enough और अब जो होएगा वो देखा जाएगा. OMR भरने में भी टाइम कम पड़ रहा था तो मैंने जल्दी जल्दी डॉट मारे और फिर उसके भर दिया जैसा था. I had initially planned that I would finish about 5 minutes early and sit, but I was instead filling it to the very last moment. Due to that, after the exam, I was also anxious at whether I'd filled it right or not. Then in those last 15 or 10-15 minutes, I could not focus on anything else apart from the exam. It did not occur to me what the invigilator was saying, what people around me were looking at or what they were doing. All I was thinking about was just finishing my paper on time and marking what I had already done. So what I would suggest for other aspirants is that give yourself some buffer time. So that because the paper doesn't go according to what you've imagined. It certainly did not go according to my expectations, even though I got a great score, but it did not pan out as I had wanted it to. Regardless, that doesn't matter in the end, but what you can do is save yourself a bit of tension in the exam and keep yourself at least 5 or 10 minutes ahead of your schedules. That if push comes to shove, then you have some room to give. If you're filling the OMR till the very end, it's not a good thing. You might make some mistakes. I was lucky enough not to, but it does not happen to everyone. So that's what I would say if you are to give NEET. If you are to give NEET.